Good morning. I realized that I failed to publicly acknowledge National Farmers Day. And I regret that because I love farmers. I see them as the backbone of this nation in a great many ways. I mean, they feed us. I also live in a tiny town surrounded by farms. Everything is related to agricultural, and I'm so grateful to these people. They work so hard. They never get snow days. They didn't shut down for the pandemic. They work in all kinds of conditions and are rewarded in very small ways for this. I also grew up on a little family farm. It was fantastic. My parents bought these little 80 acres. We moved there when I was about a year old. My dad had grown up as a farmer, and it was the kind of farm you read about. We would today probably call it a hobby farm. We milked a few cows, we had a few hogs, we had a few sheep and some chickens, and raised a garden. My dad baled the hay. We raised corn. I even remember my uncle who lived next door coming over one year when I think maybe it was too wet to get the tractors in the field. I'm not sure what the situation was, but he came with his horses and team and worked our fields down in the bottom with his horses. It was just a wonderful experience. And my parents worked very hard and paid off that farm early in my life. Dad picked up some extra jobs along the way, and they just socked things into it, lived very simply, and we survived on that little farm. But life didn't stay that way. The economy changed, the world changed, and we reached a place where my dad was going to have to go down to the bank, borrow some big money, and expand the operation if we were going to continue to survive just living on the farm. So my parents, I know they must have sought God hard about this. My mom was telling me the other day that at one point Dad said, we might have to move. We might have to move out of this area, which would have been really devastating to both of them. Strong family ties in those communities. Instead, my dad got a job in a factory. I can't tell you how horrible I thought that was. 8 hours a day, shut up in a building with no windows, and trying to lead an assembly line of chattering women. I know because I am one. And he did that for years and years and years. Most of the life I remember, my dad worked in the factory. I never heard him complain. He would get up before daylight and take his bucket of lunch with him, and off he would go. We would never hear a word of complaint. We kept the land. We had to give up things like cows and chickens and pigs because we couldn't take care of those with my parents both working outside of the farm. And I used to just feel so bad for him about that. But recently, when he retired, I was already out of the house and married when he retired. But I remember very specifically that the people he worked with went together and they gave him beautiful gifts, a variety of things, including a color television, which he and my mom would never probably have gone and bought. So they had a brand new color television. He was retired, and he went and bought some calves and put them out to pasture. And now when I look back at that, we realized, we were talking about it recently, my dad lived and enjoyed his farm many more years after that. And in fact, his lifetime years on the farm, working as a farmer, were much more than the years he spent working in the factory. At the time, it felt like the factory lasted forever, but it didn't. It was a season. He did what was right and good, and then he was able to step into another day and be a farmer again for the rest of his life until he decided to move to town, which, frankly, we decided that for him, but he was willing. I think he probably stayed a farmer in his heart the rest of his days. And so it reminds me that we can do hard things, as my daughter Charity says. And in this pandemic, it would be easy to feel like we're shut in a factory with no windows when we would rather be out on the farm. But we can endure. If we hold on, we're hitting a surge of cases again now in the fall, as they told us we probably would. Let's hold on. Let's be faithful. Let's do what's right. Because listen to this. My dad's life proved this. My dad and my mom, their life proved this. Galatians 6:9. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we don't give up. That's a good farming word for us today. Don't give up. We'll reap a harvest. Have a blessed day.